Were you aware, if you didn't read the conference webpage, that the average person loses up to 3 hours per day from procrastination, distractions, and overwhelm? Oh my, 3 hours. And it's not like it happens all at one time. You're not going to meet somebody here at conference and say, oh yeah, did you know that from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon I was procrastinating and I was distracted and that made me overwhelmed and I totally lost 3 hours. No, it doesn't happen. Instead, it happens in what I call time leaks. It happens for 30 seconds over there, 2 minutes that way, 4 minutes over there, and it adds up throughout the day. Now, the awesome thing about this statistic, this 3 hours of procrastination, distractions, and overwhelm, all of those are self-imposed. You decide whether or not you procrastinate, you decide whether or not you're going to be distracted, and you decide how long you're going to stay in overwhelm. So if all of those are self-imposed, that means you can unimpose them and gain that time back. So it's not like you totally have to redo your lives in order to be time managers. You look for those leaks in the day, which is what we did with our friend Nancy. So we looked at her procrastination. Once I forced her to start paying attention to how she was using her time, she realized that whenever she didn't feel like working something, she would automatically reach for email. And she'd spend 30 minutes, sometimes an hour in there, staying busy. After all, her hands were moving. But she was taking care of low-hanging fruit. She was not finishing the most important tasks that needed to be finished. So when she started tracking her time, she realized that she would lose 90 minutes during the day just from procrastinating. When she would find out about a conference like this one coming up in 4 months, she would look at it, look at the location, and then think, oh, I wonder what restaurants are nearby. Start looking at the restaurants, and then see what else there is to do. And she didn't even know she was going to be going to that conference. She was procrastinating. She was using that research on a maybe to fill up time because she didn't want to spend that time on that particular task. But when she realized she was doing it and it was causing her so much stress, she started cutting back on that procrastination. Does anybody know what the average adult does 110 times per day? Yes, check their phone. Very good. I've had some naughty answers thrown out before, so thank you for shouting out something that was clean. Yes, the average adult checks their phone 110 times per day. Now, neuroscience tells us that the brain takes an average of 60 seconds to reset when you're switching tasks. Now, everybody in here has to switch tasks during the day at some point, so you will have some of that lost restart time. But if we're constantly checking our phones, then we're losing an average of 110 minutes per day just from that. Now, I understand because of the field that you're in that some of you have to be on call, but there is a way to set your phones on Do Not Disturb except for those critical people who need to reach you around the clock. And so that way you're answering to their beck and call and not everybody else's, including a sales email that might come in. So cutting back on these distractions and cutting back on procrastination are going to end up saving you so much more time. Now, with Nancy, she had the added challenge of having ADD. Now, she didn't just say she had ADD, she was really diagnosed with ADD. And so we started her off on a timer so she could start to pay attention and focus for a set amount of time. When we first started, her attention span was 7 minutes. That's how long she could pay attention and fully focus. So we would set that timer for 7 minutes. She got more work done in that focused 7 minutes than the rest of the other days of just floating around and working on whatever landed in her lap. So if you have any of those ADD type challenges like Nancy has, consider using that timer. And so you want to implement all of these practices, the procrastination and distractions, which will help take away overwhelm, and that will help you build structure in the day. And between the two of those, having structure and understanding where your time is going, you'll be able to use your time more efficiently. And by structure, I mean building in time blocks, which is really scary for some people because they think, well, if I say that I'm going to work on this task from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and it doesn't work out, then I'm a bad person. No, that's not the case. And that's the beauty of using time blocks. What you want to do at the end of each day is choose your top 3 priorities that need to get done the next day and schedule those into your calendar. Now, the reason why you put them on your calendar is because there is a higher probability you are actually going to work on them if they are on your calendar. The other key is you want to estimate approximately how much time you need for these tasks. And this is where the implement the flow comes in. Let's say you think something should take 30 minutes. Well, you know it's not going to take 30 minutes because you're going to have a colleague interrupt you. So you want to pad in some time, 45 minutes to an hour. If you think something will take an hour, pad in 90 minutes. It doesn't mean you have to work on it all at one time, but you are filling in those time blocks saying you want to devote time to these tasks. The other thing is, especially in your line of work, where you have fires that are thrown at you quite often, you need to make sure that part of your time blocks include putting out fires. Now, I realize you can't schedule a fire in. It's not like you can say, yes, can you come in tomorrow morning at 2 p.m. and totally blow my schedule out of the water? You can't do that. But if you set aside that time and that fire comes in, then you can move whatever was previously in that time block to a different time. You're not going to forget about it. You're just moving it to a different slot. So that's morphing your calendar. It's understanding what your priorities are that you need to get done as soon as you walk in, before you check email. Because when you don't know what your priorities are, before you check email, then email just ends up running your day, and you don't get as much done. So choose those priorities. So have that structure, and again, by flow, I don't mean you're like my surfer buddies back in LA who just wake up and say, yeah, man, I'm going to go with the flow today, dude, and just do whatever. No, that flow comes in when you're moving those time blocks around as necessary. So you want to implement structure and flow. Now, at this time, we're going to try a little something. I saw a few little pouts earlier when you were asked to take out your business cards, but then everybody played nice, so I'm hoping you're going to play nice now. For those of you who have your wallets with you, I would like you to take your wallets out. I promise it's not a stick-up. Go ahead, just take your wallets out. If you don't have a wallet, just look longingly at your neighbors. Take out your wallets, and for those of you who have the green paper stuff in there, cash, if you have any cash with you, I want you to pull out the cash and set your wallets on the table or on the chair if you're sitting on the chair. If you don't have cash, once again, just longingly look at your neighbors. That's who you're going out to dinner with tonight. Drinks are on them. All right. Now, once you have this cash, I want you to make a fan with it. And if you only have one single bill in there, just pretend it's a fan, okay? So make as big a fan as you can. And then what you're going to do is, those of you with cash, just sit there and keep your hands to yourself for a little bit. Those of you who do have the cash, I want you to stand up at your chairs. You don't have to walk anywhere, just stand up if you have the cash. I want you to hold up that fan proudly. Okay? All right. And then on the count of 3, okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. On the count of 3, you're going to throw your cash into the air, okay? So 1, 2. All right. So we need to chat about this. One of the luxuries of being up here is that I can see everybody's facial expressions all at the same time. Now, the people without the cash smiled as soon as I said throw. They're like, yeah, like Nanette up here. She's like, give me your cash. Yes. But those of you with the cash, your looks in your eyes changed instantly. You developed that fake smile, like, am I going to listen to what this woman is saying? I'm supposed to be polite at a conference? I don't think I'm going to listen. The point is, you knew within 1 second that you were about to do something that was not good for you and would not benefit you. And this is the same way I need you to think about your time. I need you to start thinking about your time the same way you did those fans of cash, because your time is far more valuable than $1 bills.